Hello, friends. How are you doing? I'm here with today's program, on webinar, although it is a sad day that our president is no more. In fact, I wanted to, talk to you and share some important points about our ex-president, Dr. Pranab Mukherjee. In fact, I recall Pranab Mukherjee, has been a very, very good politician, number one, very good leader and a statesman. He was, if you go through his biodata, you will learn that he was one of the most learned person and advocate as well, and he had a political science degree, and he started his career as a clerk. Later, he became a professor, assistant professor, and but married also, had two sons and a daughter. And her daughter, Sharmista, lives nearby my house in Siapar. And, the most important thing is that he was a good reader and a good leader, number one. Number two, he, in Congress with Indira Gandhi and, Rajiv Gandhi, Manmohan Singh ji, and all key people. He has been, one of the most, I will say, versatile leader. There was a time when his name was floating for prime ministerial candidate as well, but for some reason he decided to come out of that political cloud, and he was chosen to be electing for the President of India, And I recall, before he became president, I recall in 2008, the month of June, I had the opportunity to do some interpretation work, for Manmohan Singh ji. At that phase of time, he was prime minister. He was finance minister, and he had earlier also held, this position as finance minister of India. But I recall it was June 2008 when there was, a very high-profile delegation that has come from SICA countries. SICA countries is a grouping of, 8 countries in Central America. And this grouping, was at that phase of time evolving as a trade bloc. The way we have European Union, we had NAFTA, SAFTA, ASEAN. Similarly, there is a grouping of these SICA countries, and at that phase of time, 8 foreign ministers had come to India in one go to meet, the prime minister, president, as well as all high dignitaries at that phase of time. And luckily, I had the opportunity to be the official interpreter for that particular, visit. And in Hyderabad House, when these high delegations come, the meeting takes place. Vice President's house also, Presidential house also, and also at Prime Minister's residence, 7 race course. These, high profile meetings take place, and on that, these 8 groupings, they were on a big spree into India, because they were signing variety of, bilateral agreements and etc. etc. And finance minister had to play a very, very important and key role in negotiations, as well as, bilateral developments, giving them personal attention, making them comfortable and whatnot. So I recall when I was in Hyderabad House with a high-level delegation, and doing interpretation. We had some technical glitch at that phase of time while doing some interpretation. So, as a very, very smart, and experienced statesman, as well as person, as a teacher, as a lecturer, he indirectly, by giving one small gesture, he said, to me, waved at me in the cabin, "Is everything okay?" And then I took over, because the other partner, they had some issues, So I took over, and then did all the interpretation for him, as well as for all the ministers, as well as dignitaries who were there, and interventions took place, And that was a very good, solid foundation for India and Central America relationship. Why I'm bringing this, incidents to you is, I want to appreciate, a minister foreign minister of that phase of time, and who later on became President of India, for the fact that in that kind of a situation, junior officers, including, when I say junior officers, for him, even secretary is a junior officer, joint secretaries, additional secretaries, deputy secretaries, directors, all, they are all tensed, because there is a delegation that has come from, 8 countries, and media is there. Everybody is very attentive, and at that phase of time, if there is some technical glitch or some problem in even a fraction of second of gap in interpretation, the whole show can go into a totally different mode. And this kind of high tension drama, takes place often when you are dealing with, high level delegations. But if, the leader is making you comfortable, that is a very, very good sign, That means he's telling you that you are in safe hand. Don't worry, we'll handle. And this is what had happened, Just a matter of second, everything got controlled. And later on, when we were ferried to 7 race course, I along with other 2 interpreters, we were all together, and he was on another vehicle, but we entered, almost in the same time. He was ahead of us, and we were just following him, from behind. But he waved at me, and he called me, and then he talked to me. He even asked, from where you have learned, interpretation. You were doing very well. He appreciated, you were doing very well, because I recall he also mentioned some names, from JNU, whom you knew, and he also said that, asked me where you live. I said Sia Park. Then he was, enlightened, and suddenly there was a spark on his face and a smile on his face. He said, are you from Bengal? I said, no, I'm not from Bengal. I'm from Bihar. But then he said, no, Bihar and Bengal is like same, And I can't believe it, that I was talking to the future President of India, and then finance minister, And the height of Pranava was much below than mine, but and at that stage of time there was lots of emotions coming in, as an interpreter for him, and talking to a very very high profile person face to face, and he giving personal attention to you, and that too on the way to meeting Prime Minister. Manmohan Singh ji was there, in 7 race course. I had to go to do interpretation for him also. But the kind of companionship, the kind of hand that he put on your shoulder, he pats, and such kind of thing, is hardly seen nowadays among politicians. I have noticed lots of politicians who have variety of arrogance. I don't know for what reasons. They tend to feel as if they have achieved big things, but the humbleness, the simplicity, the way he used to talk, the way he used to integrate with people, I believe that was wonderful. So today, when he is no more with us, although his news about his health was coming, quite often, there was some rumor already before, but his days had come, and suddenly he was a great person, and I thought, let me give my gratitude to him, and the encouragement that he always gave to to people around him, including interpreters, translators, and professors and language people. I want to salute him for that, and from on behalf of Modlingua and team, and on behalf of Indian Translators Association, and on the behalf of Language and Translators Forum and Language Community of India, I would like to express my deepest condolences for this loss that our country has, and I just hope that wherever he goes in heaven, he will rest in peace, and he will have, he will be remembered throughout his life. Uh, I will, I will certainly like to go and visit his daughter's house tomorrow, and see if there is possibility to be in to seek his blessings and be in his last rites. But if not, uh, I again, express my gratitude, with this story, and remembrance and fond remembrance, and that Sika, thing is always remembered throughout my life. And the story I always tell about, his promptness, and his personal attention that he used to give to people around him. And I express my sincere thanks, for your time. Hope to be in touch, my friends. Till then, take care and bye bye.